What's up, everybody? Once again, my name is Matt, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. In the last episode, we completed the first area in the Sky Temple, and in this episode, well, with 3 more sets of stages left before the end of the game, let's not waste any more time and get right back into the drablands. Now, don't worry about daily riches, I did that off screen, and guess what? I didn't get the grand prize, so at this point, I think we have around like 8 or 9 of those freebie items, and we only need like 10 of them to actually get the Dapper Spinner costume from Madame Couture's, although watch tomorrow be like the one time I get lucky and don't get a freebie from that minigame. And that would be like the only time I would be disappointed to actually win. Anyways though, let's get right back into it. So we're going to the Sky Realm, and this time we're taking on Deception Castle. And you know what, I think from here on out, I'm probably just going to stick with the Queen of Hearts costume because, I don't know why guys, but I just like having the extra HP. At this point, it's kind of like my security blanket, so I just sort of need it. Anyways though, continuing with our new trend of like telling stories, I actually thought of a new one. So, a few episodes ago I talked about taking Spanish class and not really learning a thing. Well, as you can probably imagine, I've got a few stories from Spanish class, but I do want to start by saying that I absolutely loved my Spanish teacher. Like, she was an awesome little old lady, but I hated Spanish. I don't know why, it was just one of those things that I never like fully understood, and I guess that's the reason why I really didn't like it. But yeah, that teacher was amazing. She was one of my favorites. Like, her, my math teacher, and my history teacher were probably my favorite teachers during like this school year. One of the reasons why she was so awesome was because occasionally she would bring in like homemade empanadas for the class, and oh my gosh guys, these were amazing. Like, no joke, they were the best empanadas I think I've ever had in my entire life, and that's like so far. I've never had anything better than these empanadas, and like sometimes I honestly wish I could go back to class and get some from her because they were just that good. Anyways though, to fully understand this story, I sort of need to explain how the classroom was set up, because instead of like each student having their own desk, we had like these tables. So there were 3 rows of tables, one on the left side, one in the middle, and one on the right side. So you could sit at like any of these tables when you wanted to, and obviously like the best places to sit were on like the back of the left or right side, because the teacher would be always in the front of the class near like the middle of the table. So that was the absolute worst spot to sit, and that's sort of where this story takes place, because I guess we got late to class one day and that's where we ended up sitting, because no one really wanted to sit there. So that being said, of course, we were still messing around in class. Like, I think we were drawing comics or passing notes under the table, but at one point, the teacher called us out, and I still have no idea how she knew what we were doing, because we were pros at this, and I thought for sure we were being as discreet as we possibly could. Anyways, though, yeah, she called us, and she took the paper from us and threatened to show it to the vice principal. Now, I've tried, and I cannot remember for the life of me what was on that sheet of paper. I really wish I could, because it would probably make this story a lot better. But, all I know is it must have been something terrible, or that would have gotten us in trouble, because literally as soon as she took it, we all freaked out and commenced Operation Get the Paper Back. So, it was 3 of us in total, myself and 2 of my friends. Now, the teacher did keep an empty seat at the middle table, and she would like put her teaching stuff there, so she took the note and actually placed it in one of her binders on that seat. So it was relatively close to us, like we could see it, but it was not going to be easy to get without her noticing. Now the 2 friends I was with, it was me and another friend, and we were kind of known for being, you know, disturbances, I guess you could say. But my other friend, she was Miss like Goody Two-Shoes and barely got in trouble, so she just so happened to be closest to the teacher's books. And because she was at our table and was sort of like included in this note-passing debacle, she was part of this, which made things a little bit easier because, well, no one would actually suspect her at all. So, while the class is going on, we're all like looking at each other, looking at the teacher's stuff, trying to formulate a plan, And at some point we realized the only way we're going to get this note back is if the teacher is distracted somehow and she's away from our table, which we couldn't really do ourselves since we were all sort of like clumped together. So we had no choice but to like wait it out. And thankfully someone at like the back of the left table needed help. So the teacher goes over there to help one of those students. And now me and my other friend, who were like the troublemakers, I guess, we were on guard duty. We were like watching the teacher, making sure she was still helping the other student out. Meanwhile, our third friend is going through the teacher's like binders looking for our note. And honestly, I have no idea what we were going to do if the teacher finished in time to go back to the front of the class and notice us, but thankfully that didn't happen, and we were able to get the note back before the teacher came back to the front of the class. And she never really noticed that we went through her stuff, and in fact she never even brought it up again, so she must have just like forgotten about it or something, but who knows. It was a pretty intense operation at the time. Like, it probably sounds kind of stupid now that I'm telling it, you know, from like the present aspect, but at the time I can tell you this was a super intense like covert ops spy operation that we were doing right in the middle of class, and none of the other students noticed. It was only us. Like, we got super lucky and we didn't get in trouble. It was pretty stinking sweet. But all of that pales in comparison to my major black operation of Spanish class, if you will. And this was like a solo op, so I was the only one that knew about this at the time. I think I've told a couple of my friends this, but while it was going on, yeah, it was just like totally me. So, like I said, guys, I did not like Spanish class at all, and it was still somewhat competitive, but not really, because none of us really liked Spanish or learning Spanish. It was not easy, and in fact, I was not doing very well in the class. Like, I did pass the class, but I only passed it with a C, and that's the only class that I've ever gotten a C in, and the only reason I passed was because, well, let's just say I got a little creative. Like, actually, no, I straight up cheated to pass the class. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I straight up cheated. But in the real world, cheating is just, you know, another word for being resourceful. Now, I'm gonna say this, I don't condone cheating in school. I've said it before already, I regret not taking the time to actually learn Spanish because it would be somewhat helpful to know a second language. So, in school, yeah, cheating does sort of only cheat yourself out of learning another skill. But in the real world, cheating is basically just another way for solving a problem and being resourceful. That being said, I really do not condone doing anything similar to what I did because it was not a smart thing to do. Like, sure, I passed the class, but that's really just like a temporary solution because I still don't know Spanish. Anyways, that being said, we were getting closer and closer to the end of the school year, and I realized that if I didn't turn my grade around, I may not pass Spanish. And obviously at this point, learning Spanish was sort of out of the question. Like, I had tried, it didn't work, so I had to think of another way that I can improve my Spanish grade. And I had my book one day, I was looking at it, and I realized, wait a minute, someone has to make and sell this book. So I started like looking up the publisher's name, the book ID, and I found a place where they were selling the books. But they were not only selling the student books, they were selling all of the teacher's aids, the answers to the tests, and the answers to the quizzes. So I was like, oh my gosh, I just hit the jackpot. And this had to be at the point where I had a summer job because I had money to buy this. So immediately, I just bought like the answer book to the test and the answer book to the quizzes. Those got to my house within like a couple of days, and I remember having a quiz a couple of days like after I got in the answer keys. So I opened up the answer key, I knew what quiz we were taking, and I just like tried to memorize everything. Now, being that this was Spanish, obviously the quizzes, they weren't easy to memorize because you still had to like memorize Spanish sentences with all like the punctuation and stuff like that, so it wasn't easy at all. And I knew that I couldn't like just go from getting C's to getting A's because that would be entirely suspicious. So I did have to sandbag my grade for a little bit, but thankfully I had enough time left in the school year to bring my grade up to the point where I did pass the class. Now, if I could do it all over again, I would probably do the smart thing and look for extra credit, you know, ask the teacher for extra help, maybe get a tutor, or, you know, if it came to it, maybe I even fail the class and take it over again because, like I said, I really do regret not learning a second language, although I'm not saying what I did was at all that terrible because in the real world, like I said, cheating is pretty much the same thing as just being resourceful. Like, it's a way to solve a problem, and if it works, it works, but that does not mean that I condone cheating in school, alright? Like, I don't want any of you guys running around saying, oh, Matt told me it was okay to cheat in school, because that is not the moral of this story. The moral of this story is, you know, I made a mistake that I regret, but at least I got a good story out of it. So, yeah, stay in school, kids, and eat your vegetables and stuff like that. I don't know, man, I'm not your parents. Anyways, though, I am sort of out of high school stories for the day, though, because, I honestly did not expect you guys to like my first high school story as much as you did. Like, you guys liked it so much so that you requested more, and then I told more, and then you wanted more after that, so yeah, it's been kind of hard to think of like more and more high school stories because it's been almost 6 years now since I've been out of high school, which is a ridiculously long time, so it is kind of hard to remember, you know, everything, and even if I did remember everything, have to like figure out, you know, what actually makes a good story and, you know, what doesn't make a good story. So yeah, it's not exactly easy, and at some point I am going to run out of high school stories to tell, but until then I'll try and like limit it to maybe like 1 or 2 stories per video, just so, you know, we have something to talk about and you guys get your fill of my crazy high school antics that aren't really all that crazy. In fact, I don't know, I consider my experience in high school to be like rather tame in comparison to some of the stories that I hear from high schools nowadays, so maybe that's like my problem. Maybe I just think like everything I did was too boring in comparison to all the crazy stuff that goes on nowadays. Like, it's ridiculous what kids do nowadays in high school. It's like, back when I was in school, like, only the really, really bad kids did that kind of stuff, and at that point, they sort of like all got in a lot of trouble, and no one was like that crazy all the time, whereas, I don't know, nowadays, I guess because I just like see it on the news all the time, I just think high school has turned into a huge mess in comparison to what I went through, but, whatever, not a big deal. Anyways, we are on the boss for this set of stages, so, yeah, what you want to do is, it seems like when he flies over one of these weird, propeller things in the corner, just use your Gush Jar to activate them, and throw a bomb into the whirlwind. That way you can deal some damage. Really not that hard. Seems pretty simple thus far. Although, these fireballs are kind of annoying, not gonna lie, dude. It's like he knows exactly where to throw them to, but there we go, stun him again. Let's grab a bomb, and up you go. So long, friend. Oh no, he's blowing up my bomb platforms. Rude. Alright, now his eye is exposed though, so I can probably just like hit that manually. I may need to throw one of my links into the whirlwind. That could be what's gonna happen next. We'll have to see though, and holy crap. Alright, this guy is going insane with his fireballs now. Like, calm the heck down, dude. What is going on? Alright, just stay there real quick and stop moving around. You're making this a lot harder than it needs to be, my friend. Can you just like stay still and not light me on fire? That would be fantastic. Alright, there we go, and yeah, I need another link, so come on, blue link. Let's get you up there and start dealing some damage. Haha! Alright, so he's already glowing red. That is a good sign. Maybe if I can just stun him again. Oh yeah, there we go, that was perfect. Get up there, green link, and this could be it. Aw, man. Kind of stinks that, like, it stops you from dealing damage after a certain amount of time, and then he just sort of, like, plops you down right in the middle of the stages, but, whatever, not a huge deal. He's glowing really red this time, so he's probably close to being over and done with, and there we go, we flipped him. Get up there, green link, deal that damage. Haha, have we done it? No, there we go, alright, we still gotta hit him, and there we go, now he's done. I was kind of confused, like, when he landed, if he was just going to explode or not, but there we go. We made him explode anyways, and he exploded into a ton of money. Hooray for us. And I guess that means at this point, we are done with Deception Castle. Like, really, all we gotta do is grab our prize, and we are good to go, which means we are now halfway done with the final area of this game. And honestly, has not been too hard as of yet, but I really don't want to jinx myself, so I'm still going to approach the rest of this area rather cautiously. Anyways, I think this one should have the rare item. We got a Sky Dragon tail, and let's see. Yeah, there we go. So I remembered, like, in the last episode, I think the rare item was in the middle chest, and since it does, like, rotate counterclockwise, kind of figured it was going to be in that chest. So there we go. We did it. Another stage down. Only 2 more set of stages to go. I'm getting pretty excited, guys, not gonna lie. Although I expect these next 2 stages will be, fairly difficult, but we'll find out in the next episode. So if you guys enjoyed this part, a like rating would be greatly appreciated. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. But, once again, guys, my name is Matt, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.